Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ng. And Joyce, we're back to make our final Creative Arts Emmys picks before the shows this weekend.
I feel like I'm not going to make many changes here.
Very few. I haven't looked at these in a few weeks, and I feel like it really has given me clarity on these. We're not. I'm just like, of course this will win.
I mean, there are some categories where I'm not sure about things, but you got to pick something. And I feel like when you're at the business end and you already have something, you're like less likely to change it, you
There
know?
you go.
Because like you already have it and you've had it for this long. You may make like one or two.
Maybe some tweaks.
Yeah.
We're recording this Thursday, and it's publishing Thursday, Joyce.
Yeah, this is late because of you.
Doing it live.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do the unscripted first, and then the scripted, basically.
Yeah, Saturday's show is for unscripted and then Sundays is scripted.
So we're starting with reality host choice. We don't pick all the categories, at least in the prediction center, but we pick most of them.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we should have like editing, which is, one of the more important categories,
Yeah.
but we don't.
But we do have reality hosts. So we're going to start there. To recap, the
Super important.
nominees were RuPaul for RuPaul's Drag Race, Alan Cumming for Traders, Kristen Kish for Top Chef, Jeff Probst for Survivor, and the Shark Tank hosts from the show Shark Tank. And I have RuPaul choice.
I do too. I don't know if Alan can do it.
If Alan does it, does that mean Traders will win reality series?
I feel like it can split.
Okay. We've seen that happen
Like,
2 years ago.
but like which split do you think is more likely?
As silly as it is, I actually think this would be the one to pick. I'm going to pick RuPaul in both because I think Alan Cumming is more of a personality here and could like usurp RuPaul as a personality. But I think overall the show, people still love RuPaul's Drag Race as a show. I know that didn't
But
happen two
it
years
did
ago.
lose to
I know,
Lizzo.
I know. But Lizzo's show is a different kind of. I don't know. I just feel like maybe it makes more sense as a program winner. I don't know, but I'm going to stick with RuPaul here.
Yeah, it'll be 9 in a row,
Yeah.
which is insane, but sure.
If Alan wins this, would you switch to Traders in Series?
Maybe. I don't know. Do I have Traders in series or do I have Drag? I might have Drag Race in series. I feel like because since Traders won casting last year without the series nomination, so that bodes well for it in series and
Hmm.
not necessarily Alan,
Interesting.
you know? I don't know.
For game show host choice, nominees are Pat Sajak, Wheel of Fortune, Kiki Palmer for Password, Ken Jennings for Jeopardy, Steve Harvey for Celebrity Family Feud, and Jane Lynch for The Weakest Link, your favorite show. Last year's winner was
A show
Kiki.
I haven't seen in 22 years.
Last year's winner was Kiki Palmer, I believe, for Password. Uh,
I'm just gonna keep her,
I'm gonna go Pat Sajak,
sure,
just for
because
the
he retired.
just that's it, really. I don't think that's gonna work. I have Kiki in second. I had her the whole time. This is when I actually changed. I was like, what if somebody's just like, oh, he's retired? The nostalgia factor.
I don't know if they think too much about this
I don't think so
one.
either. Though I guess you
So,
could argue Kiki won last year because the Jeopardy people maybe split, right? Because Maya and Ken were here last year.
but how much did they really split though?
Who knows? Release the votes.
So then you
Uh,
could just be picking Ken here now without
I
Mayim.
have Ken actually in third. I think he could win too. I think this is like at least competitive, but safe to go Kiki because she won last year. For game show choice, the nominees are Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, Celebrity Family Feud, Password, and The Price is Right. I have Jeopardy winning here.
Same.
What is a category we don't need to think about anymore?
Listen, it won last year. I'm just gonna do it again.
For Variety Special Live, this one I know we have different. The nominees are the Oscars halftime, Super Bowl halftime show, Tony Awards, Grammy Awards, and the greatest roast of all time, Tom Brady. And I have the greatest roast of all time, Tom Brady, Joyce.
You know I can't betray Usher.
I I have no reason to pick this except for the fact that I thought it was like a massive deal. It felt like the biggest, it felt like the stickiest of these shows, even more so than Usher.
I don't think that really matters because I don't really think any of these or any like past winners or nominees were necessarily sticky because I think like they all have their moment in the sun when they're on,
Hmm.
and then you just move on with your life.
I actually have Usher in third because I have the Oscars in second because I thought this was a great Oscars.
I don't think the Oscars will ever win this again.
How come?
I because it's just every year it's the same. You know what I mean? It's just
Hmm.
another show every single year. Whereas like something like you have a halftime show every year, but it's a different performer, right? And a
Right.
different kind of production. I know like Oscars is a different production too, but it's the whole process, everything is the same, essentially. Not just Oscars, but like all these award shows.
Right.
I think the Tonys have an advantage because the Tonys have done better historically, especially in recent history than the other award shows. Because I think they do have the production value of the musical numbers
Hmm.
too. But yeah, like recent winners here is Super Bowl. You have Elton last year, obviously. And then you have the live taping wins, like those things. So I think it's like it's like more of a novelty will give you an
Hmm.
advantage here than just an award show every year.
Well, that's what kind of why I have the roast there, but we'll
Yeah,
see
that's a
what this.
novelty. That's
Yeah.
not like so, but I wouldn't put the Oscars in second.
Uh, this year I think I would because of the I'm Just Ken performance. I feel like that's akin to the Tony stuff. Uh,
Mm,
for directing a variety series choice, nominees are SNL, Daily Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and I have Saturday Night Live winning.
same.
Nothing else to say. Good for them. It's a live show with sketches.
Yeah,
For variety special recorded, the nominees are Dick Van Dyke, 98 Years of Magic, The 100th, Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden, Dave Chappelle, The Dreamer, Trevor Noah, Where Was I, and Nikki Glazer, Someday You'll Die, future Golden Globes host. I have Billy Joel.
of course you would.
I interviewed them, so there you go.
You interview them twice.
Yeah, they're my boys.
I can't believe you
Paul
didn't do it third time.
Paul Dugdale, baby. Let's go. Steve Cohen, not that Steve Cohen. This Steve Cohen.
Um, I have Dick here, and I have Billy in second.
Um, Besides the fact that I interviewed them, the reason I actually think that it has a real strong shot of winning is because it does similar, like you're saying, like the novelty of it compared, like so you have three comedy specials and this 98 Dick Van Dyke special that's also like not, you know what I mean? It's like
It's
there's
like Carol
room,
Burnett last year.
right? The Billy Joel thing is really it's like a live concert that they put. It's like it is obviously recorded because it wasn't shown live, but like the degree of difficulty to make it like it's captured live, and I just feel like there's no pickups. It just seems like the challenge of it maybe separates it from these other four. Not that all of these aren't
No,
challenging.
I agree because 2 years ago Adele won, right? It's the
Right,
same thing.
right,
Um, so you just have to choose between one of the two of them. And I
yeah,
mean, last year Carol did beat Norman Lear, which is the
yes,
same thing.
yes,
Like all these like legendary birthday celebrations.
yeah,
So I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I don't think any of the comedy specials will do it. So I think it's between the two of them. I mean, had Billy Joe been live, it would be in the other category,
yes,
and I would probably choose it. So
yep. For varieties special directing, the nominees are the Oscars: Dave Chappelle, The Dreamer; Tony Awards: Dick Van Dyke, 98 Years of Magic; Trevor Noah, Where Was I, and Tig Notaro, Hello Again. I have the Oscars here, Joyce.
I do too.
Again, it feels like the degree of difficulty may be the highest. No disrespect to the Tonys.
I don't know. I have Dave in second.
Me too. It's not impossible to imagine it winning.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't think I'll change it, but whatever. I don't really care.
Variety series writing choice. Nominees are Last Week Tonight, Daily Show, and Saturday Night Live. I have Last Week Tonight.
Nothing to say.
Animated program. X-Men.
Controversial category currently.
Really? Has it nothing? I haven't seen anything about X-Men 97. Are you
Oh,
serious?
really? Well, you
Nothing's
were at
going on.
Telluride. You missed everything. So
Is anything going on? It seems like a great show with no controversy. X-Men 97, Blue Eye Samurai, The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, and Scavenger's Reign. And I have X-Men 97 winning.
I do too. So there were a bunch of juried awards a couple weeks ago
Yes.
that Blue Eye Samurai won.
Okay.
So, but I feel like X-Men is still the bigger show
I
and it was a
yeah.
hit. So, and I don't know how much the actual controversy matters.
I don't think it, I think if it lost, it's not because of the controversy.
No, definitely not.
Uh, I agree with you. I just think it's the bigger brand. I have Blue Eye Samurai in second. I could see it
Yeah.
winning, but I just think the brand of X-Men is so strong. The show is a big hit and really has universal acclaim. I don't know anybody who doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that it's like feels like the biggest tent more so than Blue Eye Samurai.
Yeah. I mean, it might be awkward for during the acceptance speech, right?
Really?
Like, yeah. But
Hmm.
or maybe they just won't send anyone.
We accept this on behalf of TK.
This has
Uh,
been so much easier during the pandemies. No one has to go, or you just like send a video or something in case you win.
uh, Next up, voiceover performance choice. This one less controversial. Nominees are Maya Rudolph for Big Mouth, Hank Azaria for The Simpsons, Sterling K. Brown, Invincible, Alex Borstein, Family Guy, and Hannah Waddingham for Cropopolis. And I have Maya Rudolph winning one of her 4 Emmy nominations here.
And it would be her fourth win in this category.
I feel like there's really no. I think Sterling K. Brown actually would be in second.
I have him in second. I mean, we talked about this during noms. Like
Yeah.
he's just beloved by them. Like he can rack up
Yeah.
nominations easily. The fact that he is the first nomination for Invincible is insane. I mean, like no shade to him. He's great. But there's nothing to do with him. It's just the voters, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he would win without Maya here.
For narrator, nominees are David Attenborough for Planet Earth 3, Angela Bassett for Queens, Morgan Freeman, Life on Our Planet, Paul Rudd, The Secrets of the Octopus, and Octavia Spencer, Women of Highway 20. I have David Attenborough for Planet Earth.
It will also be his fourth win.
I toyed with putting Paul Rudd in second. I have him in third right now behind Angela Bassett, but what if he's actually just in second on the idea that why not? They're just going to pick the person they like this year.
I mean, I'm very happy for Paul because these 2 Emmy nominations this year are his first industry
Yes.
nominations ever.
Yeah.
Like, so it's great. And like, yeah, it's kind of like you don't know how competitive in terms of just like respect and admiration someone is if like people are not allowed to vote for them, right? Like if they're not actually in the running for something. So maybe now like his name is actually on the ballot. I don't think he's winning. I have him in
No.
like fourth or something
Yeah.
here. But and I don't think he's winning supporting actor either.
No.
But this is great for him because it's like who would have look at us, you know, look at us now. Who would have thought 2 Emmy nominations for Paul Rudd?
Structured reality program. Nominees are Queer Eye, Shark Tank, Love is Blind, Antiques Roadshow, and Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And I have Queer Eye.
Yes.
How many is that for Queer Eye, Joyce? Do you know off the top of your head?
For Queer Eye, it's I think this will be 7.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
they're not very adventurous
no.
in these.
Unstructured reality program. The nominees are Welcome to Wrexham, Love on the Spectrum, RuPaul's Drag Race, Untucked, Vanderpump Rules, and Below Deck Down Under. And I have Welcome to Wrexham winning.
Same. I don't know. Defending champion.
Nothing else to say.
Yeah.
It's a good show. Documentary series. Nominees are Quiet on the Set, The Dark Side of TV, Kids TV, excuse me. The Jinx Part 2. Beckham, Telemarketers, and Stax, Soulville, USA. And I have Quiet on the Set, The Dark Side of the Kids TV.
I have that too. I don't know if it's actually winning.
So we talked about this. I
But
guess my thinking is I think it's a bigger deal online, like we said, than it is for Emmy
I
voters.
mean, it's another thing that, when it was on, it was a big deal when those episodes air, right? Just like the roast or just like the Super Bowl, right? And then
And
everyone moves on.
but the other thing, I guess the only thing is none of these other shows really broke through to me. No disrespect to these nominations.
Wow,
So,
rude to Beckham. I love Beckham.
I mean, Beckham would probably be the second one over the Jinx, would
I
you
mean,
say?
Beckham gave us an iconic meme. So,
Fisher Stevens. I mean, I could see it winning more so than the Jinx and telemarketers. I'd actually have
I
the
mean, the
Jinx in
Jinx part two
fourth.
was unnecessary.
I have the Jinx in fourth because telemarketers, I
I
think,
have
had
it in
like
fourth.
really good reviews and was like
Yeah, I have
really.
telemarketers in second and Beckham in third.
I have Beckham in second and telemarketers in third. The Jinx in fourth and Saxville in fifth. I do think Quiet and Set will just win though, but one of those where if it didn't win, I would be like, huh, not that surprised. It wouldn't be like I'm shocked. Uh, Documentary special choice. Nominees are Jim Henson, Idea Man, Albert Brooks, Defending My Life, The Greatest Night in Pop, Steve Martin, and Girl State. And I have Albert Brooks, Defending My Life.
I do too. This is another one I'm not sure about, but
I have
I don't.
Greatest Night in Pop in second. And I really think that could win. Jim Henson is first in the odds, but I don't believe that's as competitive as these other two.
I Yeah, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't be shocked by any of these winning.
Uh,
Maybe Steve. I don't-
so if you're doing the what's the unique one, it's Girl State, right? Because the other
But
three,
it's still a sequel to Boys State, so
but it's the only one here that's not like a celeb, like,
yeah,
hagiography,
it's not
basically.
a biodoc. So
So that has maybe that separates it. In terms of like greatest night in pop, I just felt like because it's the Netflix, it was clearly the most widely seen of these and like very easy to watch. People really liked it about a obviously like iconic pop song. But I just felt like the Albert Brooks one was like feels more like what would win here in the past, like based on that, more so than Idea Man or even Steve. I don't know.
yeah, I think like I guess like I understand why Idea Man is in first. Um, but I feel like, in terms of buzz too, that was also way quieter than not that Albert Books had a ton of buzz, but I felt like that was more like in the sphere than
Yeah.
Idea Man.
Here's
So
some past winners if we just go back. It doesn't really help, but I think it does a little, and that's why I'm like leaning. And by I think we both have Brooks. Maybe still won last year. Michael J. Fox, George Carlin's American Dream won the year before. Boy State won in 21. The Apollo won in 20. Leaving Neverland, The Zen Diaries of Gary Shandling, 13th. What Happened, Miss Simone, Going Clear, and back into 2014 was JFK, American Experience. So like the Albert Brooks one feels like in keeping with like
a lot of comedians.
Carlin, Shanling, and even Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox
We have comedians and a boy state
and the Boy
here
State. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna stick with Albert Brooks. Maybe I should move up Girl State. I'm gonna leave it in fifth.
because of boy state.
I don't know. Documentary filmmaking choice nominees are Beyond Utopia, Going to Mars, the Nikki Giovanni Project, and Stamped from the Beginning. And I have Beyond Utopia.
Same.
Hosted nonfiction series or special. The nominees are Conan O'Brien Must Go, Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates, My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, How To with John Wilson, and The Reluctant Traveler with future Emmys host Eugene Levy. And I have Conan O'Brien Must Go.
Obviously.
And that takes us through night one of the Creative Arts Emmys. So we mostly agreed. I think we have like three maybe different. Seems right. But not a lot of upsets expected here from
But
night one.
there probably will be. Like
Which
the
is
Emmys
fun.
are more unpredictable than the Oscars, so which makes it more fun because there's no season long lead up into it where consensus builds.
Now we're back into night two, Joyce. How do you feel? What a great night. I got a good night's sleep here. I'm all set for night two of the Creative Arts Emmys.
For Sunday, I mean Sunday is the men's final at the US Open, so I'm
And the
ready.
first NFL, some first Sunday in the NFL season.
Which is annoying because like they moved the men's final to ABC. So they moved it up 2 hours at 2 p.m. because it's normally at 4 p.m.
Yeah, sorry. Football's America's game, Joyce.
Tennis is America's underrated sport. So
Main title design is first. The nominees are Shogun, Fallout, Lessons in Chemistry, Palm Royale, Three Body Problem, and Silo, and I have Shogun winning.
um I have had lessons in chemistry here. I'll probably just keep it.
Okay. Love it.
So I
Great
mean, I've
title.
told you my issues with the
Pencils.
Shogun credits.
Yes. Game of Thrones.
Yes. And I'm not sure if like that's enough for it to win. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think it's like I think they're very well done, but they're so like polished and I don't know if it's like actually representative of the show. Um and I don't even think like they're credits you want to watch. That's something I think about with these. Because
I
I don't know
yeah.
about you, but when I watch the show, I skip through the credits and like other shows, like lessons credits, like I'll sit through them because they were fun.
The only issue I have with this, I don't disagree what you said there. The only issue I have with Lessons is I feel like Palma Royale is similar, has a better theme than
Yeah,
Lessons.
Palm's credits are really good too. And Fallout credits are also really good too. So I feel like those three are probably stronger than Shogun.
But I'm also like, what if the massive Shogun? I know it's like, I know it's not like everyone voting for everything, but I'm like, what if just the still like it's the biggest show here, and I wonder if that matters.
Yeah, no, I understand. I don't know. I guess like I also don't know if it'll take both of these categories, like uh main title music next. You know what
So
I mean?
we could go to that
So
one. I The nominees are Shogun, Lessons in Chemistry, Palm Royale, Feud, and Masters of the Air. Your fave, Hunks. I have Shogun winning here too.
I mean, listen, if Honks were in main titles, that should be winning because they were hilarious. So
So I have double Shogun then.
yeah, and I don't know if it'll be double Shogun.
I I want to pick Palm Royale. I think the theme for Palm Royale is like fucking great. There's one of the
Again,
best.
I think both Lessons and Palm Royale's themes, and also Feud's themes. Actually, all of these are pretty good.
And so
I'm like naming all the nominees here.
I think the lessons and I honestly do think lessons in Palm Royale being together, being set similar-ish time periods and having similar-ish vibes in terms of the titles and the song or music, uh, like makes both of them knock down. If one of them was here, maybe I would say like, oh, I think it'll absolutely win. But so I'm just gonna stick with Shogun in both of these. If I'm wrong, I mean I'm wrong.
I think I'll keep Lessons in titles and keep Shogun in music.
Okay. For music for series choice. Nominees are the Shogun, The Crown, Only Murders in the Building, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Palm Royale, Silo, and Slow Horses. And here I have Shogun as well.
Yes. So
Do you think Only Murders could win?
Um, I feel like it's gonna be another Succession and never win this category.
Ah, pretty
So,
funny. Uh, Music for a limited series choice. Nominees are Fargo, Lessons in Chemistry, All the Light We Cannot See, The Tattooist of Auschwitz, and Lawman Bass Reeves. And here I have Lessons in Chemistry.
I have Fargo.
I have All the Light We Cannot See in second. I almost picked that. I'm going to stick with
You
Lessons in
should.
Chemistry. Maybe I should. Should I just put it back in first?
Yeah.
All right. So I have All the Light We Cannot See, Joyce. Rewind. James Newton Howard for All the Light We Cannot See, I believe.
Yeah, I'm just going with Fargo.
Sure.
So,
It's first in the odds.
um, yeah. And I guess it's like it's this category is interesting because the limited series frontrunner isn't here, which is Baby Reindeer.
Yep.
And also Fargo has won this before, also for Jeff Russo. So
For music and lyrics, Joyce, nominees are Only Murders, Girls Five Eva, Saturday Night Live, another Maya Rudolph nomination. The Tattoo of Auschwitz and True Detective Night Country for John Hawkes. And I have Only Murders in the Building to EGOT, Pasek and Paul.
We've had so many EGOTs
It's
in the
not
last couple of
it,
years.
it's lost the we got to
The
add another.
exclusivity.
Yeah, we got to add another letter.
Yeah, like this is why I don't like it when award shows add extra slots in categories. Like it diminishes the prestige of what you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
So now it's because like a lot of, I mean, they're not producers, but a lot of these people have completed this because of producing.
Uh, but yeah, I think you have them too here.
Yes,
I have SNL in second because of Maya over Girls Five Eva.
I have Girls Five Out in
I
second.
think SNL. If there was an upset, I think it would be SNL. They also like promoted it. They did a little
I
campaign.
mean, they're trying. That doesn't mean it'll work.
No, I'm just saying. Like I think they're trying more than the Girls Five Eva people are trying. Music supervision, Joyce. Here the nominees are Fallout, Baby Reindeer, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Fargo, Only Murders in the Building, and True Detective Night Country, and I have Fallout winning for its massive music budget.
I mean, great songs, beautiful songs though. So
This is a fun one because there wasn't really like a breakout where it's like, oh, Stranger Things, that kind of thing this year.
no, it was just really good music for these
Yeah,
shows. Like I think these are all good nominees here.
yeah, me too.
So
Um, Now we're gonna get into the casting categories. Then we'll do TV, movie, and then the four acting categories. So for drama casting, the nominees are Shogun, The Crown, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Slow Horses, and The Morning Show. And here I have Shogun, Joyce.
yes.
Feels like the series winner, obviously, I think in terms of the casting, like we've talked about, finding a lot of incredible actors, some unfamiliar to Western audiences, all of them operating at a high level. It feels like the kind of show that would win.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's
I'm
like The Crown
assuming,
is in second because it's like The Crown, but I also don't think it's not, I mean this was its second season with this cast. So it's not like the same as like the odd seasons when it's like the new cast,
well,
you
didn't
know?
they add for this season,
Oh yeah, yeah, like there's obviously new
Kate?
people, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like the turnover is not the same kind of
Right.
excitement when
I,
it's the a completely new core cast.
I think they're just like Prince William and
And
Kate.
it's also The Crown is not going to win series,
So I have actually Mr. and Mrs. Smith in second and Slow Horses in third, and then The Crown. I bet you have Slow Horses in second, knowing
obviously.
because you think it's series runner up, and then maybe The Crown and Mr. and Mrs. Smith third and fourth, or do you have Mr. and Mrs. third?
I have The Crown third.
Okay.
I mean, Slow Horses casting is really great.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have new secondary characters every year
Mm-hmm.
too. So and then just all the other people in Slough House are great. So I mean this was I thought like Slow Horses would get into like series and Gary and writing. And like maybe Jack. I feel like I would have kept Jack had Shogun not moved because I had him for forever. But I mean, it really surprised me with the directing nomination and casting. That just showed like how much it broke through to the voters.
Yeah.
And casting is voted on by casting directors, producers, and directors. So
Comedy casting choice. This one's one to watch, I would say. The nominees are The Bear, Hacks, Abbott, Only Murders, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I still have The Bear winning.
yeah.
If The Bear loses to Hacks, are you going to change your series pick?
Um, Again, I think it will also depend on how else it does in other categories.
Yeah.
Like what else it wins and loses, and same for hacks too. But
Okay.
this would be a huge one. Because I think even if like all like let's say like season 3 of The Bear did not air this year. Like it was just we just had season 2 from last year and season 3 of Hacks this year. Like I think The Bear would still be ahead anyway. And then like season 2 did have, all the castings of these big name guest stars, and I think that's what people remember too, you know.
And Hacks did not have a lot of it had a lot of guest stars, but none. I don't.
Hacks always has great guest stars, but like it never it none of them ever kind of like become part of like the conversation that the Bears do, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
it's like it's like talked about amongst like fans, but it's not it doesn't become like really truly mainstream like the Bears.
Hmm.
So, uh yeah, and I think like it's still the stronger show overall.
Yeah.
It's not-
This one very easy. Movie limited series casting. The nominees are Baby Reindeer, Fargo, Feud, True Detective, and Ripley, and I have Baby Reindeer.
Obviously.
This has got to be. I honestly think this is the most locked of any of these categories we've done. Like, if this does not win, it would be the biggest upset maybe in the history of this category. I don't know. Just feels like the lockest of locks.
There's like this is why it's annoying that Shogun left limited because we could have had a real battle here between the two of them, and then drama
Yes.
would be even more fun. So
For TV movie choice, nominees are Red, White, and Royal Blue. Quiz Lady, Mr. Monk's Last Case, Scoop, and Unfrosted. And I have Red, White, and Royal Blue winning.
because they were campaigning.
Like motherfuckers, they were everywhere. I've never seen people campaign more for a thing than these Red, White, and Royal Blue people.
You know, one day you need to like actually keep track of how much aggressive campaigning actually produces a win in the end.
Should.
Yeah, but you're bad at math, so we should have someone else do it for you. I still have Quiz Lady.
Okay. I have Quiz
I'll
Lady in
probably take
second.
it.
I think that could win. Certainly.
I don't know. I mean,
Uh,
Emmy winner Sandra Oh finally for producing.
mhm. Uh, now the four acting categories. We talked about these a decent amount. I have not really made any changes. Just that's my spoiler alert. But for guest actress in a drama, the nominees are Claire Foy, Michaela Cole, Sarah Paulson, Parker Posey, and Marcia Gay Harden. That's for The Crown, three Mr. and Mrs. Smiths, and a morning show. And I have Claire Foy winning for The Crown.
I think I'm gonna keep Michaela.
Okay. We've
I
talked
haven't
about
changed
this.
anything so far.
Uh, we've talked about this. She's got the of those three, she probably got like the best arc of in terms of her guest appearance. Uh, and The Crown not as popular as it was when Claire won previously. More to do in this season, this appearance than last one, but maybe on the do we care
Yeah,
anymore? Have
because
they
I
moved
feel
on?
like 3 years ago, I feel like the crown swept her up in the win, and now that the crown is not sweeping, it's
Right.
just guaranteed one so far. I mean, maybe it'll win like a craft category somewhere else, but like Elizabeth Debicki, basically.
Yep.
And so I don't know if she on her own
Can win.
is enough to go all the way here. Again, um, I don't know. I mean, at the same time, we know they don't really overthink the guest categories. So they could just name check her. But I mean, arguably everyone here is a name check in some way.
Yeah. For
But
guest actor choice. Nominees are John Turturro for Mr. and Miss Smith, Tracy Letts for Winning Time, Nestor Carbonell for Shogun, Paul Dano for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Jonathan Price for Slow Horses. And I have Jonathan Price for Slow Horses.
I have John and I'll probably keep him
Nestor Carbonell, the overwhelming favorite.
because he's just on Shogun.
I think that's it. I
I
just feel
want to
like
do Jonathan. I
do
love Jonathan.
Jonathan. Do it.
I don't know,
He's a double
but
nominee.
he is.
They
You
love
know,
the
I mean,
show.
I will do him next year in supporting actor.
And they love the show. Like they clearly
Um,
like the show. That he's nominated shows they're paying attention to the show. I don't know.
I don't know what. Hmm. because you know I also love Paul. You know that.
I know. Paul's great on Mr. and Miss Smith. I think he was my preferred choice to John Turturro, but doesn't matter.
No, like I think the only person who is out of it here is Tracy.
And he's fantastic on the show.
Um, I I don't know. How much do you think? So like last year, these went to The Last of Us, and Nick Offerman was the favorite the whole time, and he
Hmm.
won. And then Storm Reid was the surprise. I think she was last in the
Hmm.
odds. And that category was just Succession, The Last of Us. And that is another very guest star friendly show, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Obviously, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is not as big as Last of Us, but how much does that help the actors on these shows?
I don't know. I think Mr. and Mrs. Smith is, I'm sure Amazon would say that it was the biggest thing ever, but it felt like, and I love, it's like definitely one of my, it remains like one of the only good shows I feel like from this cycle. But I just don't know if it had as much, it wasn't as big as Last of Us felt, at least in the terms of conversation. So I think that helps.
But at
That
least
makes
we
it a little
know
different.
the actors like it, so
We know the actors liked it.
that
Right?
matters here.
But like that Storm Reid one, I guess what I would say is like for Last of Us, Storm Reid maybe was last in the odds. She was also the least well known of the Last of Us actresses nominated in that category. So that means they really liked the show because they paid attention, like they were paying attention to the show if she won. And here it's like all these Mr. and Mrs. Smith people are incredibly famous. So I don't know if it's like the same thing applies. And or if you could say like, oh, because it's the most guest star friendly that it would win. Because I think the Storm Reid, like if it was like if Melanie Linsky had won for Last of Us, then you'd be like, oh yeah, I definitely maybe feel more confident in like Paul or John because they're just like, oh, going with the famous person from the
Yeah,
show.
I mean, like none of them would have that same, I guess, like profile that Storm would have, but like she was underestimated. I think I'm guessing Harriet was in first.
Yeah.
Face eggs, probably. So, God, Emmy-less. Um, but it's like they, like you're just kind of like aware that these shows cast a lot of guest stars, right? Like now, like for season two, like they're like, oh, like we've gotten so many requests from actors to come on our show,
Hmm.
So it's like we know like allegedly actors are aware and like they like the show because it got all these acting nominations as well.
Right.
And we were talking about this like in phase one with like between this and Fallout too, because that also had a lot of guest actors and that flopped
Hmm.
in acting basically. So um I don't know. I think I'll just keep drawing.
Okay.
Oh.
Uh, comedy now. Last two. Then we'll get to emails. We have so many emails, Joyce. Comedy guest actors nominees again are Jamie Lee Curtis for The Bear, Caitlin Olsen for Hacks, Maya Rudolph for Saturday Night Live, Davine Joy Randolph for Only Murders in the Building, Olivia Colman for The Bear, and Kristen Wiig also for Saturday Night Live. And I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to stay with Jamie Lee Curtis for The Bear.
Yeah, I still have her.
We've toyed with like predicting someone else. I certainly have. Maya because of Kamala Harris, even though she's not even playing her yet. Caitlin Olsen because she's
But
great
she
on
has played
Hacks.
her.
Not yet, not this time, not this season. She's not
No, but
like
that's like what she's nominated for
right.
basically too. So
Well, she's nominated for her hosting, basically.
yeah, but it's like
She didn't
she
play
has
her as a
won for
host.
this before.
Right.
Like we've seen her play. This is not
Yeah.
like she was cast and we haven't seen her play this
No.
character.
But like that was part of she would like if Kamala Harris wasn't running for president, that would not be a bump for Maya. You know.
No, but that's what we talked about. Like, and that's basically what happened 4 years ago because she was not favored to win the same category 4 years ago before she was tapped to be Joe's
Right.
running mate, and then she won a month later. So
Uh anyway, I'm just thinking with Jamie Lee. I don't know. I think that this is one of the things, like having not looked at this for a couple weeks, like you were saying, I think no one's thinking that deeply about these. I think they're just going to say Jamie Lee Curtis, check.
well, I think like there's just I guess if you elevate Maya, like I think there's this like there's three of them now with a lot of I guess passion, you can say.
Mhm.
Um And I don't know
Mhm.
if like either Caitlyn or Maya can take down Jamie on their own. And then now with like two of them there, that could, quote, split the vote, basically. Like there's not just one alternative. Like I think it's harder if we're gonna um say that like Maya will be helped by Kamala Harris being the Democratic nominee now.
Right. Uh, and then finally, comedy guest actor Joyce. Nominees are Ryan Gosling, SNL, John Bernthal, The Bear, Bob Odenkirk, The Bear, Will Poulter, The Bear, Matthew Broderick for Only Murders, and Christopher Lloyd for Hacks. And I'm going to stick with Christopher Lloyd for Hacks.
Yeah, same. I didn't change anything.
Uh,
Do I need to change something to make this interesting?
no.
I don't really change a lot of things either, but
So we
I
have
don't know.
mostly similar. We have different acting drama guests. Both of those we split on, and we both have the same comedy ones. So we'll see how we do.
Yeah, I mean, we
Last year,
talked about this with John, who I think is he still in first in the odds?
yes.
So I don't know. I have Ryan in second.
Me too. Last year I was 1 out of 3 on these. I think I got Nick Offerman. Everything else was wrong. So
Last year was when I didn't change to Judith, and she won. So
Uh, so those are our predictions for Creative Arts Emmys. They're this weekend. We'll be back next week with our primetime picks, Joyce, which I can't wait for. Not a lot of changes there.
should we do an over under on how many categories will change based on creative arts?
I okay. I mean, I'll say how about like 3 categories? I'll take the under. I don't think I'm going to change very much.
It's kind of hard to when there are front runners. I mean, especially in limited, that's really hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know like if you would like supporting actor is basically the only one up in the air in that one. And I don't know if you could
Mhm.
base anything off of creative arts for that. You can't because like they're none of them are really
Yeah.
nominated in big categories there. So
Yeah. I wouldn't change any. I'm not going to change very much. I don't think. If the bear gets annihilated, I would maybe think about hacks. But we've done this before, where like Ted Lasso didn't do well and still wins for season 2. So
yeah, like that, like we've seen that before. Like same thing with Veep. I mean Succession last year too.
right.
So, um, but yeah, I think it's also because like with in terms of the bear and hacks, like the bear is like a little bit more like craft friendly
Right.
than hacks, right? So it should have the edge in some of these categories, like editing,
Yep.
because it's like so frenetic too. But the editing in hacks is underrated.
Uh, emails choice. We got so many. You can email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. First up, we got our pal Ite, longtime listener. Hi guys, it's been a long time. I haven't sent an email in a while because I'm so behind on this year's TV shows. Do you guys think with her deserved nomination for Hacks, Caitlin Olsen has a chance of getting any recognition for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, a la Ann Dowd and The Leftovers, Handmaid's Tale, or Alex Borstein, after she was ignored for years as a voice actor on Family Guy? I know the Emmys only nominate them for stunts once in a while, but now that she has a couple of noms and her husband Rob won for Welcome to Wrexham, I wonder if the Emmys will care more about them. Also, I love your Oscars playback series from this summer. It made me go up and catch up on films I never saw, like on Golden Pond, which was really lovely. I was surprised that you guys said the Dangerous Liaisons had no cultural impact when every movie tries to do the makeup removal scene with a tear, I, Tanya, and Joker, and a lot of the intrigue in shows like Game of Thrones or The Crown try to imitate the kind of acerbic relationship shown in Dangerous Liaisons. Or maybe it's just me projecting my love for the film. Hope you have a great week and that Hannah Einbinder wins at the Emmys. That's from Ite.
I mean, I think with Danger Liaisons, that's more like other people being inspired by them too. But I mean more about like just like everyday people talking about it.
I gotta say, I didn't read all the comments. A lot of flack for saying I preferred Cruel Intentions. A lot of flack. Dangerous Liaisons Hive is strong, Joyce.
I mean, it's film people here, so you know. beware of your audience. But I love Cruel Intentions when it came out. I watched that probably it was when it was on pay-per-view because at my legal box. I watched that like every day when it was on pay-per-view.
One
And
of
I
the
still
great
can't
movies.
hear obviously Bittersweet Symphony without thinking of the final scene. So
Truly one of the great movies of the
yeah.
99s, of the great movies in
It was part of
99.
99.
It is one of the greats. Joyce, how about Caitlin Olsen? Any shot at Emmy here for the future?
For it's I don't think no, for It's Always Sunny. So when you were reading that, I thought the show you were going to say was High Potential, her new ABC series. But then when you said It's Always Sunny, I was like,
Do
absolutely not.
you
Because
think
like they don't pay attention to that show in general, and I think it's only gotten like two or three nominations in its whole run. So yeah,
what about
like some shows they just exist and they're successful without awards recognition, and it's fine.
high potential? Any potential?
Um, I
The
don't.
hesitation leads me to believe no.
Well, I mean, it's basically just like it's like another Psych, another Castle type of show, which I do love those types of shows, but that's basically what it is, you know. So it's just like a normal person with some trait that is helpful to the cops.
Right.
I mean, I love that trope, don't get me wrong, but do awards like that trope? Not really.
Uh, this one's from Harold and Maude, Joyce.
Aiden.
I'm going to read this one because it's about movies. He had emailed us last about when we did our Oscar picks. He sent it on Thursday, August 22nd. So we have not done emails in a while. But I just have to read this because it feels like he sent it from the future, maybe.
Oh, wow. Prophetic.
Hi, Chris and Joyce. I don't exactly know how I come off in some of these emails, but today I'm going to be a professional hater and make some calls on Oscar contenders I think are hot air. Night Bitch is not a real movie, and I am stunned by the immense confidence for Amy Adams to win Best Actress, seemingly for no reason. These Toronto Performer Awards are purely coincidental. I think we should all take a step back if we're reaching these precursors. If I'm wrong and this movie is somehow not a disaster, I will concede and put her in actress, but the images released don't even indicate there's much of a physical transformation going on either. Next, Wicked is going to maybe be the laughing stock of the year, and I would say 0 nominations. You might say crafts are likely, but we all probably thought that about The Color Purple and Wonka this time last year. Categories like costumes and even makeup get filled with Best Picture nominees way too quickly to make room for a movie as silly as this. Next, I could see Amelia Perez being a bit of a red herring, especially if the piano lesson surprises people. The reviews from the former are not outstanding, but it is at least a little proven. Lastly, this isn't really hate, but The Room Next Door doesn't appear to be a Best Picture, Screenplay, or Director contender at all to me. Adapted looks hard to get into, and Almodovar really hasn't proven to be able to get individual nominations, despite being predicted over and over again. That's all for me. Seeing how you're going to read these after a lot of the fest happened, I kind of left myself open to be totally wrong, but I guess I'll take the risk. Now,
First of all, I love when someone is a professional hater.
now,
I
I gotta
love
say,
generational haters.
outside of the Amelia Perez piano lesson part, all of this feels absolutely dead on. Night Bitch Joyce, and we haven't even seen it yet, but the trailer came out this week.
The trailer was hilarious. I'm
I mean,
sorry. That was great.
truly, truly woof for the trailer. Uh,
That was great. I also don't know what people were
I
expecting
I don't know,
from it. Like that
but
was exactly what I expected from. Well, also I would say like for marketing purposes for the trailer, I think it's purposely cut that way to make it more broad appealing because
yeah.
I do think the film will veer more dark like the book does. So I understand the cut of the trailer, but like so many people were shocked. I'm like, this is I don't understand. Like, what were you expecting from a movie about Amy Adams turning into a dog?
Uh, the room next door of Venice, not what you want. 17 minute standing ovation notwithstanding. The reviews are much more mixed than I think you would expect.
It's kind of sad to see.
Uh,
Like it's like worse than mid. It's kind of like it's disappointing, you know?
and if those and I always look at it like this: those are the people primed to like it, not just because it's at a festival, but because the people who go to festivals are like Almodovar are probably like devotees. So if they're like then you know it might be even worse than eh.
I think it's most damning that like the screenplay is bad.
Now that's a weak category, but
It's so weak, and it's also like that's probably like the easiest nomination for it to get to.
just a check. I think
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton, I would, based on the reviews, that's one we haven't seen. Amelia Perez, I don't think is a red herring. Piano Lesson, I think played exactly as it was expected to play.
Yes.
And Wicked could be a disaster. We'll see. There's a trailer coming out today. I've finally, I think, given up the ghost on having Wicked in my picks, Joyce, because I found other things to put in. But we'll go back to the Oscars after the Emmys. This is just a hilarious email. I
I
just
was
had to
talking
read it.
to someone last week, and they had no idea that Wicked was a two-parter.
Nobody
And
does.
it's also about marketing again. They're not marketing it that way either. It's not like Wicked Part One, right? So
Hilarious.
a lot of normies are gonna see it, not knowing it's a two-parter,
Uh,
and
d-
be
uh,
upset it's a two-parter.
This one is from Sam Joyce. Emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I was wondering if you guys are pachinko watchers and what you think of it, given its seemingly universal acclaim. I was surprised it nearly got blanked at the Emmys for its first season. Even if it wasn't in play for above the line categories, I was still surprised it didn't get in for a lot of crafts categories. Voters at least recognize its awesome main title design. Do you think it's a show that will ever get recognition, or is it just too slow and about an experience too foreign and unique? Obviously, it also has the hurdle of being in two foreign languages that are important to keep track of, which is being used in any given scene. For me personally, I only watched the first half of the first season, but do want to pick it up again. I was simultaneously very engrossed by the stories and characters, but I also felt like I was watching paint dry. Curious to know your thoughts. This is a great email. And I think, Sam, you answered your question right there. Why it's not going to break through the Emmys.
So I watched all of season one.
Yes.
I have not watched season two yet. But it was also a slow watch for me. And I can watch things very quickly. Like if I have like a full season of a show, like 8 episodes, I could burn through that in a whole day if I start in the morning. Right? Like I'm not someone who needs to take breaks in
Right.
between, something like that. So, but like with pachinko, yeah, you do need to pay attention. And like especially in season one, like there are just a lot of very heavy things happening that you also are kind of like, I don't know if I can watch another one. And I feel like some people might not be watching it weekly, especially if you're coming to it as a new viewer, like you're looking for something to binge. This is not a show you binge.
No.
I'll say that.
I,
So
I feel like Pachinko and I would, it's a completely different show, but I would put industry here too for this next cycle of Emmys, where it's like these are like shows with very intense fan bases that maybe people are hoping will pop in this next Emmy cycle. And
yeah.
it remains to be seen how much voters are actually paying attention, or will they actually give these shows time because they're hearing more about them compared to like, or they just stick with the new shows or the old shows that they've already liked, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, like season two of Pachinko, like it, yeah, like still acclaimed. Like I'm
Right,
sure it's great.
right.
I have no reason to expect it
No,
not to be great. But yeah, I think it's hard. It's a hard show to convince people to watch because I think like a lot of people are also looking for something fun to watch when they're picking TV shows.
yeah,
And this is not, this is a serious watch.
yeah.
So
Uh, Next up, we got an email from Robert. Emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I've been listening to your podcast for about a year and want to say that I look forward to a new episode every week. My question for you both is, do you think The Gilded Age has any chance of winning Emmys? Carrie Coon and Christine Baranski are terrific in their respective roles, and season two is an improvement on season one. I hope that at least wins some of the craft categories because the costumes are amazing. Look forward to hearing your take. Take care. That's from Robert.
well, it won production design 2 years ago. Yeah, because it
Hmm.
didn't compete last year. So I mean, maybe it can win it again.
And costumes
I don't think Carrie or Christine are winning.
So let's say this. The second season, I think, did it leveled up like this. The Gilded Age actually did what I think people want like industry to do, or like Pachinko previously, where it's like it's leveled up in that second season where now it's on the radar and it's got some key nominations, including series in the case of Gilded Age. Do you think that bodes well for a third season where maybe is Carrie like is it trending to a win above the line?
Maybe. I mean, they're filming season three right now.
Hmm.
So Um, yeah, I think it would also depend on the level of competition too. Like I mean I don't know when it's gonna be released. Because I don't know about the post. I don't know when like HBO would hold it
I don't
for.
know. Maybe they put it out
Because
in the
they could hold it
spring
for
or hold it
the
for
following cycle too,
maybe.
or they could, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but like if it somehow competes next year, like I mean, who knows? Like
And next year's
field,
already so competitive, like we said, with a lot of HBO shows.
and there's a lot of returning shows, and I think we're also expecting some of those returning shows to be as competitive, if not more than before, but they could also flop.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't. It might never win like series, but I don't know if I can even see like a main acting category. No shade to them,
Right.
but maybe guest somewhere. I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever like level up to be something as big as like a Bear
Right.
or like Succession or like a Ted Lasso.
I think Carrie Coon has a better chance of winning an Emmy for White Lotus than she does for The Gilded
Yes.
Age. This one's from Austin Joyce. This is just a gas us up email, which you know I like.
So it's your burner.
No, not as far as you know. No, it's not. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I wanted to send you a note of encouragement. Over the last few years, your videos are a safe space for me, and I feel like I'm jumping on a call with old friends. You're so different from the other, but you both stay true to yourselves and respect the other's individuality with some playful jabs. Chris, your enthusiasm and silliness are refreshing and infectious to me because you are so sincere. And Joyce, your astute observations and ability to understand where the little things fit into a bigger picture are a fascinating listen. Plus, thank you for keeping Chris accountable for all his mercurial picks. Quote, didn't you just interview the showrunner composer? So that's definitely your number one pick right now. Your dynamic as a pair is insightful and grounded. You are light together while at the same time you sharpen one another. Now a question. I remember the social media account for the film Origin trashed distributor Neon for not dedicating enough resources into promoting the film. I went to a Q&A with Ava DuVernay in New York City, and she was working her butt off during award season. I'm pretty sure she was spending her own money. Hulu recently did some promo for the film once it was released on its platform, and then did a release event at Array. I know the film went to number one on their top watch list, but can you walk us through why Hulu would invest marketing money into a movie that isn't their product? Is there any connection to how Ava funded the film with Foundation so she has more freedom with it? It's from Austin.
Well, I think from like a business standpoint for Hulu, like you could just try to attract more viewers anyway, even if like you're not getting any return in terms of like awards or
Right.
you know anything like that.
They also probably want to have a relationship with
Yeah, it's
Ava.
a good building block,
You know,
especially that she made so public her issues with the rollout of the film.
I will say no shade on any of this, but Neon remains like one of the best distributors, right? Like they're just really good at this. There's a feature in THR today about Neon and how good they are, how they're like better than A24 now, maybe in terms of like
It's
finding
interesting between
all
them
these
and
release dates.
A24 because I feel like A24 in terms of the Oscars, like A24 is more successful maybe in terms of multiple handling multiple films and getting a lot of nominations, whereas like Neon is really hanging on to the Parasite run, which was
Right.
great and iconic. And then it has like a lot of canned stuff too that does well.
Five in a row,
But
I can.
it's like, yeah, they're successful in like different things. Like Neon doesn't really have like the breadth of A24, right? It's a lot more focused. So
Uh, yeah. We got another email here from Mike, Joyce. Mike's back.
it's with a game.
No game.
Wow.
Also, Austin, thanks for that gassing up. Appreciate it.
Chris wrote it, so
Hi, Joyce and Chris. It's me again, the guy who is apparently ruining listeners' email segments and the stars of the Friends episode, the one where the game bombs, Mike. Once again, thank you for responding to my email last week's episode. I wrote it days before The Acolyte got canceled, and I never thought it would be so very timely once you read it. The discourse is still happening up to this day. People are not understanding the TV business. Yes, Joyce, I'm familiar with A to Z starring Kristen Milotti and Ben Feldman. Also, we're not playing any games that has nothing to do with the backlash or negativity. I just can't think of a good game at the moment. I'm currently in my Game Master's block era.
wow.
Anyway, I want to talk about two things. First, it was reported recently that Ted Lasso is seemingly moving forward with a fourth season, with almost every main cast member returning except Phil Dunster, since he is busy with other commitments. We know that Jason Sudeikis had a three-season arc plan for the series, but the show was such a massive success for Apple, so they loaded a dump truck of money on his lawn, and now we're getting season 4. However, it did make me wonder, do you think Sudeikis will be a prominent part of season 4, or will he let the rest of the cast shine and have the main focus instead? While he has seemingly agreed to do a fourth season, I just don't think that he will commit to it fully and won't get the most of the spotlight, even if he is the titular character. What do you think? Second, why does Mary Lou Belly always get the multi-cam slot in the comedy directing category at the Emmys? She has been getting it for 3 consecutive years now, and it made me wonder whether she has the dirt on the TV Academy, which is why they keep nominating her. With due respect, and perhaps she is a good person and a professional on set, I'm just baffled by how she keeps being the multi-cam representative. It's not like she's a name check type of director. I have nothing against Mary Lou Belly. No hate to her at all, though it sounds like it. LOL. But why? Is there an answer to this? Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks and have a great day. That's from Mike.
I think with her, like, she's also a veteran. She's not a household name, obviously. But, she's been around.
I, I,
She's been working for like what, 40 something years,
I absolutely think it's that. Like, she's
Yeah.
friends with probably so many people in the industry that
Yeah, you
that's how
just
she
don't know
gets
about
in.
it because she's not super
Right.
famous.
And nobody's watching these shows. No disrespect to Mary Lou Belly, but like
Yeah.
the people who like are listening to this are not watching those shows, right? Like that kind of thing. It feels like.
Yeah. And then with Ted, it was funny because when that news broke, I thought about what we talked about last year when, every show ended the same weekend, including Ted. And we talked about how, Trent writes the book in the finale and Ted leaves a note saying it should be called the Richmond Way because this is not about me. And we literally said, if it comes back for a fourth season, because Jason only had a 3-season plan, they could continue it as the Richmond Way. Do like a Hogan Family Valerie type of thing.
I think it's going to
Just
be
change the
Ted
name.
Lasso: The Richmond Way. They're going to keep the
Yeah,
Ted Lasso
and
like
like
Shogun,
Ted is not the main character
and
because he's
he'll
back on
appear in like the first episode
special
and
guest
like
star.
as a guest star, maybe come back. I think the show will. They set up so many breadcrumbs for it. I don't even think they'll actually go
Yeah, like the
back to.
girls team.
I think it's
Yeah.
going to be the girls' team. They'll start from scratch because it's a better arc. So they'll have Rebecca back. You could have Roy Kent as the coach of the girls' team, like that kind of thing. I don't even know if you need Juno Temple in that regard, right? Keely, she could also be a guest star. You don't need
She's
the
still working in
players,
PR, okay, with her
right?
firm.
You don't need the players. You don't need the team. You'll have a new set of team. It'll feel new enough, but you'll have like a lot of the same like flavor,
It's like a spin-off
right?
sequel.
And
Like, would you even call it a season 4? Like, I think everyone's
yes,
calling it season 4 now, but
I,
it could just be a spin-off.
I think it'll still be the same. I think it'll just be a continuation. They're going to do Ted Lasso : like Shogun : that kind of thing. We're just going to keep the brand.
I also love because then a couple days later, Matt Bellany reported in his newsletter that Phil Dunster is not one of the people sent on to return because of scheduling conflicts. I was like, that wasn't the deadline story.
He's getting a
But then
little,
people ran like
yeah.
that was the one that was aggravated. Like,
He's getting a little, I don't know.
yeah, like that was already deadline already had that. It was in the story if you
Not
read
as
it.
it's not as sharp, or it feels like a little too tossed off sometimes.
But yeah, I think like Jason is like, he'll tolerate like an appearance or two.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'll
So,
appear, get that
but
guest
like
star.
he's made it very clear that like he was done after 3.
Yeah, and they left open. I mean, like it was so obvious they left open like 1,000 different, like
Yeah,
a
and
very obvious
none of
show.
them have ever talked about it being the series
No,
finale. It was
no,
just always unsaid, but like we know this chapter with Ted was
yeah,
ending. So, and then all the other cast members have always wanted to continue.
yes. Uh, this one's from Gabriel Joyce, another frequent emailer. Hi, Joyce and Chris, and I already can't wait for your ridiculously early 2025 Emmy predictions. I expect nothing short of pure chaos, or should I say chaos? Before I get to his question, Joyce, I have a question about how we want to format this. I don't. Are we going to do every main cat? There's so many categories. Like, how do you want to do this?
We could just do like above the lines, just like the
But
main.
all the acting too. That's so many categories.
Well, but that's why it's more fun. You get more wrong.
Okay, we got to figure out when we're going to do that. Okay. I have a few questions about the Creative Arts Emmy. So without further ado, Why do you think the nomination total matters so little in documentary series and documentary special categories? Considering those two are voted on by the documentary branch, it makes sense to assume that the winner would have a few other nominations under its belt to back up its win, but that doesn't really seem to be the case. For instance, the Apollo won documentary special in 2020 without any other nominations. I could understand if this was the whole Academy voting, but since it's not, I can't quite wrap my head around it. I have a couple other questions, but we'll pause there because there's a few here.
So I mean, like, because it is, I think it's just they're. I don't think when people like vote, like they're thinking big picture like that. They're not. I think like we are keeping track of like stuff like these stats, like the nominations, but I don't think the actual voter cares or like what other nominations this show got.
And I think it's like a sum of the parts is greater than the whole kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Uh, Number two. Neither of you are convinced Nestor Carbonell will win Guest Actor in a Drama because Shogun underperformed acting-wise. While I share the same doubts, I read the script for Anjin the other day and was reminded of how much his performance and character popped off the screen. Is it possible he just wins because he plays a memorable character in the most voters' favorite drama series? I'm currently predicting Jonathan Pryce because not only did Slow Horses overperform, but he's a double nominee who is in 3 of the drama series nominees. But I wouldn't be surprised if any of the other top 4 in the odds took home the award. I have Jonathan Pryce too, Gabe, so I'm in.
Yeah, did you write this?
No, not a burner.
Uh, I mean, like we said, I think like Nestor being on Shogun is why he's in first. And I think, yeah, like he could win from inertia, but
I
I don't
think
know
the
if
reasons that Gabe lays out here for Jonathan Pryce is why I think he's going to win, but I don't know. Uh, Number 3, music supervision doesn't seem to typically be an easy category to predict, which is why I'm not fully convinced that Fallout is as strong frontrunner as the odds would have one believe. It does have the most of in-your-face needle drops, but I wasn't the biggest fan of them, and I would much prefer if Fargo won this category. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is the only nominee in this category I haven't seen, so I was wondering if you talk about the needle drops in that. Thanks for waiting, and I can't wait to hear all about Telluride. Chris, did you get to see Disclaimer? Sincerely, that's from Gabriel.
I mean, why would you go to Telluride to watch Disclaimer when you can watch the screeners on at home?
The amount of people I said that to at Telluride is non-zero. I have the screeners right now on my
Here's
phone.
my thing. TV shows should not be at film festivals.
We have a question about this coming up, so let's save the disclaimer rant for in a minute. I still haven't watched it. I'm sure it's great. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I don't really remember a lot of the needle drops either. The one that stood out to me is the meanest song, The World is...
I think, which one did they, what are they nominated for? Which episode?
Yeah.
I think it's A Breakup, right? Yeah, they're nominated for A Breakup. But I don't remember what's in that.
Let me look up Tune.
I only watched this once, so, and it was in like February.
I guess the thing I would say about this whole show is like, I thought the score was phenomenal. And I don't really...
I have it in second in score.
And I don't remember as many of the needle drops from the show, but I do know they used Mina in the Italian episode, which isn't even nominated. And
well, they didn't submit it, so you know,
yeah.
what are you gonna do?
There's a Brittany Howard song in this one, Cardigans, but not the one that everybody knows. Kiss Me. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of these would be good winners. Like I like the True Detective needle drops too.
Would love any of these to win. It's true.
Yeah, I didn't like the Billie Eilish theme, but
yeah,
the other songs great.
And Telluride was great. We'll talk about it later. It was so good. This one's from Jason. Another plug, Joyce, for the early Emmy picks. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Last week you floated the idea of an early Emmy predictions, and I love the idea. I love the early Oscar predictions, and it's so fun to watch, especially when the season is over. I'd love to see you guys do this, just as an advocate. Just an advocate, Chris. Thanks. Love, Jason. All right, so we'll do it. I just got to figure
You were so
out.
against it, and look at this.
It's just so much work. There's so many categories. The Oscars is only
It's not
8.
really. You just have to know when things are coming out. And here's the thing. Some of these, like, we'll do them, and some of them might not come out. So
okay, that's fine. I'm gonna not like put like the Oscars when I'm like really pen and papering. You know, this one I'll just do off the top of my head.
and you could just list like 4 people from one show.
Yeah, industry. I'm going way in. This one's from Ryan. Hi, Joyce and Chris, longtime listener, first time writer. I would love to hear your thoughts on Glenn Close's chances for an Oscar nomination for The Deliverance. Not the best reviewed film, but the internet seems to like her performance. Do you think we could champion her to a nomination and win if the film has high streaming numbers? Maybe it's the gay man in me, but I feel personally invested in Glenn winning an Oscar. Please tell me I'm not totally off here, and that there is at least a slight chance we may be soon saying Academy Award winner Glenn Close. You're both the best, Ryan. Sent from Ryan's iPhone. He couldn't wait to send this email. Had to do it on the iPhone.
Not from sent from my iPhone, like
No,
Martha.
no. Joyce,
Um,
I did not watch Deliverance, but you best believe I saw the meme of Glenn Close talking to Anjana Ellis-Taylor.
iconic. Um, maybe not for Deliverance, but maybe the summer book, which is going to premiere at London. I don't know. I'm not going to put her in anywhere. But
No, not this year.
you know what? Glenn is having fun. She just finished Knives Out. Like, she's living life. So I'm happy for her. And if the Oscar happens for something, it'll happen. But I don't think it'll be for the Deliverance.
Her and Amy Adams can win double Oscars for Hillbilly Elegy sequel.
Not a great year for Hillbilly Elegy this year.
David L is back, Joyce. Hi, Joyce and Chris.
How
It's
long is
movie
this?
nerd and your longtime contributor and expert, David L. Not that long. Actually, pretty long. First off, Chris, I'm glad you had fun at Telluride. It's always fun to see how you radically change your predictions after seeing something. I'm so thrilled you love Jason Reitman's Saturday Night because you're dead wrong about your Letterboxd review of his masterpiece Up in the Air. But I knew this film would be more your speed. How's that SAG Ensemble prediction of mine looking? I knew this film looked like a hit. Chris, I'm sure you have seen 3 films that will be future SAG Ensemble nominees, Conclave, Saturday Night, and The Piano Lesson. Also, I told you both The Brutalist was a sure heavy Oscar contender. Love to toot my own horn, but I just read the logline of the film and I knew it was a real contender, not like Brady Corbett's previous films. I always had it for Best Picture, Actor for Brody, Supporting Actor for Guy Pearce, and Original Screenplay. And I suggest you both do the same soon. And then he goes, we'll just go into the Creative Arts Emmys hereafter. But I just want to say, I do have it in, even though it still has no distribution here in the U.S.
Yeah, no distribution yet.
It's Focus International, Joyce. That's confused a lot of people. But
yeah.
we'll
And
see
I
if it
think
gets
also
picked up.
because it was one of the few films so far that got universal acclaim, like people want it to be picked up and be in contention this year.
Who will pick it up remains to be seen. Focus could make it work because they don't have an actor contender, I don't think, right? Like they have other stuff. Nosferatu, I've heard great things about. Might be more of an audience play. They have Conclave with Ray Fiennes. That's going to be their big number one. So they put The Brutalist in there too. I guess then maybe not. I don't know. And Searchlight has Complete Unknown, Night Bitch.
Like I see, so I think like because I think people are so used to films getting acquired immediately after raves that we're not used to like these long breaks before a deal is announced.
Now, I will say on the positive, the fact that Maria and Queer agreed to their deals that were long rumored before the festivals and then seeing the responses to those films at the festivals was not surprising.
The Maria one was not surprising.
Neither was Queer, frankly.
No.
So I'm like, I totally understand that. The Brutalist then has like the best buzz of any of these movies and could potentially cash in. But does that mean it comes out this year? And how do they balance all their slates? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how this is going to come out, but we'll see.
I mean, it should come out this year because this year is kind of weak.
It could definitely come out, and whoever gets it could maybe get it to a win somewhere.
Yeah. Adrian Brody could be the new Hilary Swank. Like, who would have thought?
I mean, frankly, probably right now, if it gets a distributor, I could see him winning. Anyway, back to David L's email. My questions for the Creative Arts Emmys is, do you both think Blue Eye Samurai could win animated program since it won a bunch of juried awards recently? Also, is it possible that the documentary series Beckham could upset Quiet on the Set? Because I don't know if people in the industry like to honor or award documentaries about things they've done wrong. I really think Jane Lynch will win game show host over Keke Palmer since they love Jane Lynch and she's pulled off upsets in the guest comedy categories and she's by far the best game show host on television. And it's so funny the way she roasts the contestants on The Weakest Link. Also, why are you both not convinced Jim Henson Idea Man is winning documentary despite the fact that Jim Henson is so beloved in the Television Academy and has the most nominations? I understand your logic that they go for docs about comedians, but the difference is unlike Gary Shandling and George Carlin, Albert Brooks and Steve Martin docs lacked any real substance and weren't that great. If Ripley wins some tech categories, it could be a huge threat in directing and acting. Good luck getting any of these right. I'll be watching the live shows this weekend. So
I mean, we
we
talked about
talked.
most of these.
Blue Eye Samurai, I think, could win. I
Yeah.
think we talked about that. I think the X-Men 97 has like the biggest tent, so that's why it feels like it'll win. But Blue Eye Samurai 1, no, I would not be surprised. Quiet on the Set seems like it's more of an online thing. Again, though, was the biggest thing. Though Beckham, obviously on Netflix, maybe could get the edge there. Uh, I don't think Keke Palmer is a lock for Password. Jane Lynch, sure, she's last in the odds, so if she won, it would be hilarious. I kind of
She shouldn't
actually
be
hope.
last in the odds.
I hope that happens. That'd be
Yeah.
fun. Uh, Jim Henson Idea Man, I just don't think. I think that none of these have that much substance. Personally, the Albert Brooks one, no more than or
Yeah.
less than
I mean,
Gary Shandling,
I have Idea Man in second, so it's
right?
not like I have it dead last.
And
Like,
I guess that's where I could overreact. Is if Ripley wins really well. Now I'd have more nominations than Baby Raider anyway, but I'm really looking for an excuse to get like Steve Zalian or
you really want to anti-Dick Richard, that's all.
I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think
Even
I'm gonna do
though
that.
it's
But
branch voting.
I'm not going to do that, but I do want to predict against the show for directing, and I might go if True Detective or Ripley has a really great showing, I might move one of them in first in directing. I guess we'll see. Uh, last few emails, Joyce, and get your emails in. I guess for next week we're going to do our final Emmy picks, so make sure they're all about those. Emails us slugfest@goldderby.com. This one's from Alexis. Hi, Joyce and Chris. The media is really hyping up Americans at the U.S. Open. I understand the excitement, and I know Andy Roddick cannot wait to no longer be the answer to a trivia question. But do you think Taylor Fritz or Frances Tiafoe can actually win the final? On the women's side, what do you think about the Emma Navarro and Arnya Sabalenka matchup?
Arena Sabalenka.
This is just for you, Joyce. None of this. This is might as well been reading another language.
Rude. Well, for the first time in 21 years, we have two American men and two American women in the
Right.
semis. And today is the women's semis. So, yeah, so I think Emma could trouble Arena, but Arena's been playing so well since Cincy, and I think she should win that. Like, I will say, like, all the quarterfinals were pretty mid and some were just outright terrible. And but Arena was on point in hers and she just destroyed Kim Wen-jang. And I don't know if she'll destroy Emma the same way. I could see Emma sneaking a set tonight. But I think Arena would still win, and she kind of imploded last year in the final. Like, she really should have won that final. So I think she's like out for revenge. Like, she wants to make amends after last year because she knew she should have won that. And then so tomorrow, Friday, are the men's semis, and it's an all-American semi for the first time since 2005. And it's Fritz versus Tiafoe. I think Taylor will win. He has a 6-1 head to head over Francis. Who only he Francis won their first match in 2016 and then lost the next 6. They haven't met this year. I think the crowd will probably be more on Francis's side because he's just much more of a personality. And I don't know how you missed him going viral for shouting out Tony Goldwyn the other night because there was a Scandal reunion there, and he was like, "Me and my girl love watching Scandal. I love you, bro." Uh, so I think it will be Fritz in the final. So he'll be the first. Like, we're guaranteed American man in the finals, and it'll be the first American man in the final since Andy at Wimbledon
Hmm.
2009, which
That's the
he
trivia question part of it.
should have won. Yeah, Andy hates being known as the last American man to win a slam. He talks about this on his pod all the time. And yeah, so right now, like, they've erased some of these with like their advancements to the semis and the finals and stuff. So, but I think Yannick Sinner will make the final. He there it was a terrible quarterfinal last night between him and Medi. It was so weird, so streaky. And he plays Jack Draper in the other semi, and if he'll win that probably. and Yannick will be the favorite over Taylor. But you know, if Taylor wins that somehow, I don't even want to think about what Andy Roddick will do. He'll be so thrilled.
Did you enjoy going to the U.S. Open, Joyce?
Of course I did. It was the best time. I uh became friends with this family next to me one of those days. And she the mom, she and I started talking about Emily in Paris. She
Hmm.
loves Emily in Paris. And we started talking about like how we need more like dumb shows, like mid shows that you just like to watch for fun. And she was like, yeah, like stop with all these like hoity-toity prestigious shows. And she's like, I just love watching Emily in Paris when I'm on the treadmill.
I'm psyched for a Perfect Couple.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of those screeners yet.
Can't wait
But
though.
my friend watched one, and then he's like, "This show looks like it feels fake, but it's like hilarious."
Yeah, I can't wait. It looks like
Yeah,
it's all green screen.
yeah. And also this family, they live in the same town as Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively.
Oh wow,
You
fancies!
just
You
made a
can
face at that.
see the real rich folks. That was at Telluride. I'd be on the gondola and I'd be like, oh, and it'd be like someone would be like, yeah, we live here. We have a house in Houston. I'm just like, the amount of money here is the dogs are
How
richer than me.
yeah, like what is their net worth?
I don't know what's the dog's net worth.
Jesus. Yeah.
This one's from Pete. Emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. The Emmys are almost here, so I must ask, what is your most insane, out of this world prediction for the Emmys, primetime or creative arts?
I don't think I have one.
I was thinking as I was reading this, I don't really either. I feel like it's going to be so chalk, or like even if it's not the expected winner, it would be like the runner up. I don't think we're going to have that many crazy
Yeah.
winners. What I want to predict is like I said, like Richard Gad losing, or like the director, somebody else winning director there. I mean, I guess like you were saying, like if Jane Lynch, or like David L was saying, if Jane Lynch wins for host, that would be like a shock because she's last in the odds. And a lot of times we saw that last year with like Storm Reed. Like those are the shocks where it's like this person, or Sam Richardson, this is the last in the odds and they're going to end up winning. So that could, like if Matthew Broderick won, like you brought that up a few months ago or whatever, a few weeks ago, like that would be crazy. But I guess nothing would be surprised. I don't know. Is what is surprising now? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess like if you're going by actual odds, is like someone who is like fifth or sixth, or just last and however many slots there are. I think like most of my, if I'm not picking the front runner, I think I probably have someone that's in second or third, maybe. I don't know where Michaela and John Turturro are in the odds. So they're probably not second.
I think they
Um,
are. I closed out the tab though.
are they second because of me?
Maybe,
No.
maybe.
So yeah, but I don't have any like left field pick anywhere, I don't
No.
think. I don't know. Is like lessons and main titles one?
It's
Because I'm
harder
not
to
doing
do. It's
Shogun.
harder to do left field in phase two because nothing is left field. Phase one, you could go left field and actually be right, and not as much in phase
Because
two.
it's about nominations and you could just get in, and
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
Uh, Two left, but one you're gonna love from Judgmental TV fan Joyce.
Great, they're back.
I don't know how this is not your burner. I would say that is not. Judgmental TV fan is a real person. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I don't know how we're still doing this in September of 2024, but Alfonso Cuarón made a TV show and then tried to claim it was a 7-hour film. And then Deadline went all in on arguing it for it to be considered for the Oscars, 6 question marks. Everyone working in film should be barred from making TV at this point if they can't acknowledge they made a TV show. It's a totally different medium, and it is arguably a better medium right now. Get GTFO with this nonsense. Judgmental TV fan.
I mean, that could also have been from Mike. Like they should be besties.
Uh, so Karan made this movie, the show, disclaimer, Kate Blanchett, and he's called it it's a five. I think it's like 5.5 hours. I have not watched it.
It's 7 episodes.
7 episodes. I think it's like 5.5 hours total. It's supposed
And
to be great, and it's definitely a
he
high
keeps
priority for Apple.
yeah, and he keeps calling it a 7 hour film. Just like how David Lynch called Twin Peaks an 18
And
hour film. And a lot of these auteur directors who venture into TV call, X hour film, like 8 hour film of whatever show they made.
reading between the lines and just having talked to like a couple of people, it feels like this actually was a movie he wanted to make. Then Apple gave him the money to make it as a show. So when he's calling it a film, I think that's part of the reason why, because he probably just
Yeah,
views it as a
I
movie.
feel like the intent at some point was to adapt this book into a film,
Yes.
and it became a 7 hour limited series, a TV show. But I think he obviously still sees it as a film and he wants it to be a film. And I think that's also why it's playing these film festivals.
So he's a friend of Telluride and like obviously a, one of the most acclaimed filmmakers ever, right? I would say. So it was at Telluride. I did not see it there because
Why would you see it there? You have the screeners.
so I have 4 days to see stuff. Really three, because even though the fest runs on Monday, I left on Monday afternoon. So I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to see as much as I can. Uh, Building in time for long lines and movies and getting it. And then they were showing this whole thing. It's 7 hours or whatever. I'm just like, I can't, and I have the screeners. I can't make the time to watch this on the big screen as much as I would love to. I'm sure I would love to watch it in a theater, but I didn't make the time for it. So I will watch the screeners. I still haven't watched them, but I'm very excited to watch them because I think it sounds like a show I would very much enjoy based on the premise.
It's a TV show. It's not a movie. Yeah, and that deadline story was outrageous. Like, to
And
be fair, it's not something that Alfonso was suggesting, like it competing at the Oscars.
I think it's just like a hyperbolic thing where like this is so good it should win an Oscar.
But like that's what they do all the time. It's like there people are ashamed of TV. It's like they think it's below them. If you think it's below you, then don't do it. Like stay out of here. Like no one is like begging you to come in here to do it. Like you don't have to do it. It's like, you know what? It's like the same thing as like how like yesterday the Joker press conference and Lady Gaga said it's not a musical and literally defined a musical in her explanation of why it's not a musical. It's like it's the same thing. Like these people are ashamed of being a musical.
That
It's
was
like
weird.
don't do it. If you're afraid of this thing, then just don't make it. But embrace what it is and what you are.
There could be 100 people in a room, Joyce.
And how many of
And
them made musicals?
99 don't believe it's a musical. All it takes is one person to say it's a musical, and it is. Uh, Last one here is from Marcus, Joyce. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I know Twitter isn't real, and everything happens there should not be treated as a real issue. But I keep seeing people complaining about how Apple has so many great shows but doesn't market them. First of all, Netflix barely markets any of its stuff too, and we've already lived through this annoying experience once. But why are people ignoring the fact that marketing Apple shows isn't the problem? The problem is that no one has Apple TV Plus. It's from Marcus.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Now,
I mean, I still don't know any
firm, but true.
like, yeah, personal friends who have Apple. So
Based on like the data, whatever fake stuff that Matt Bellany puts, all those the newsletters talk like the what is it like the when it pushes through or whatever saturation I guess is not high for Apple TV Plus.
no.
Now that said, all their stuff I very much enjoy. It's
They have
great,
great shows. Yeah.
great shows. I also think marketing now is completely different and people are not used to it. But like, there's actually no reason to market. There, no one has an attention span unless it's like a blockbuster movie that's got like Wicked or Avengers or something. You don't really need to throw in a commercial for something before like a few weeks before it comes out, especially on streaming.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know if anyone has noticed, but like in the last several years, like we don't get trailers for like TV shows, especially streaming shows, until like 3 weeks out of the premiere,
Here's a
you
great
know?
example. Monsters is coming in
Oh
two
yeah.
weeks.
But I think that's also a, asterisk because Ryan Murphy is very protective and secretive about his projects now.
True. But I'm just saying, like, there was nothing that is going to be if not the biggest show of the year on Netflix, one of like the top five biggest shows of the year on Netflix in terms of viewership, based on how Dahmer did, based on the salaciousness of the Menendez brothers, based on the setting. If Dahmer was able to get like almost 300 million whatever minutes screened or whatever the fuck, this show will be huge. So it's gonna be their biggest show. They just didn't even run a trailer for it until like this week was the first actual trailer.
Yeah,
Comes out
that
in
like
two weeks.
that's what Netflix has been doing for a while. They did that with Dahmer too. Like it was, and also like reviews were also embargo. Like they didn't send out screeners early, and like Netflix, for a lot of their shows, they send out screeners way early, like months
Yes.
in advance before it's supposed to premiere, which is helpful. But like, yeah, with like Ryan shows, like very secretive and like tight-lipped. But yeah, it's very yeah, like people don't have a long attention span as, TikTok generation. So it's like everything is more condensed with the marketing. It's like we can only do this like 2 or 3 weeks out with like the key art, the trailer, and then do like a couple days of press with the talent.
It's true. I got one
Yes,
more email, Joyce, that I was not going to read because it's from Harold and Maude. He actually sent two emails.
because the first one was from August 22nd.
No, they were sent literally the same day.
Oh, okay.
But this one I want to read because of what you just said, and it kind of goes, it's a great way to end this conversation. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I'm emailing again. I want to start by saying the Oscars Playback Season 3 was a resounding success, and I've enjoyed listening to it every week this summer. I hope it's not the end. Perhaps the earlier 2010 ceremonies could follow. It won't. I think we're going to do the 70s when we do it again next year. I also want to give maybe a little insight about a common question I saw being brought up that was if the awards movies from the 80s have any influence to a younger generation. I can confidently say no one my age has heard of, let alone seen, any of the movies that you talked about, and I would extend that sentiment to recent releases as well. Chris, you said that everyone knows Oppenheimer won Best Picture, but I would be surprised if 5% of my school population has heard of that one. TikTok appeal is kind of the main driver in my experience. The most popular Oscar adjacent movies with teens over the past few years have been Saltburn, The Whale, yes, seriously, and Barbie. I also spent a lot of time hating in my last email, so I'd like to say I'm very much looking forward to Queer, Saturday Night, and Anora as movies, but also their awards chances. Finally, I'd like to ask the most important question. This is about the Olympics, Joyce. I'm just going to read it. Is do you think LeBron's recent Team USA performance solidifies him as the GOAT? My answer to that is no.
Um, to me, I feel like I'll always have Jordan as the GOAT.
No
I think,
doubt. No doubt.
yeah, I
Like,
think it's a I I think like LeBron can play like any he's like more well-rounded. He could be like any position basically. But I just feel like, the consistency of Jordan over such a extended period of time with one team is different from what LeBron has accomplished over multiple teams.
no doubt. Jordan all the
So,
way.
yeah.
Uh, but I just thought that's funny about the TikTok stuff.
But like that is true because like I've say this a lot, but like a lot of my normie friends, like they don't pay attention to stuff and they have no idea what's coming out or what's the nominator or what's winning what, and like they don't care. And that's fine. Like no one has to care about this shit. But I think like when, you're into this like awards punditry stuff, you're in a bubble and then you just think things are bigger than they are. So I mean, like I told you, I think, yeah, it was last year when we did Oscars playback, like on one of my midterms in college, my copy editing midterm, it was like about current events, and one of them was about the Oscars, which had just ended like 2 weeks earlier. And this was the year of Crash and, Reese and Philip Seymour Hoffman and everyone. And we literally had to write down, what won Best Picture, director, actor, actress. And after the class, after a test, like a lot of my classmates, they had no idea. And you would think like 20-year-olds would be paying attention to like entertainment stuff, but they had no idea like that. Like someone wrote like Brokeback Mountain because they just knew that was like the big movie, right? But they had no idea that Crash won. And someone wrote Heath Ledger won Best Actor. They had no idea that was Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like they don't know or care. And people, like, even if they watch the Oscars this year and they watch Oppenheimer win 7 Oscars, they forget about it 2 days later.
I guess that's why they listen to us. Though we have a young audience, as you see there from Harold and Maude and all our fans. All right, this was great. So email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. We're back next week with the Emmy predictions, final Emmy predictions.
Maybe I'll actually change something. I don't know. Should I do Jonathan Pryce?
Yes,
Just because
yes. You should absolutely do Jonathan Price. You're the slow horses person. Like,
I
why would you
am. And
not?
season 4 is so great. Season 4 out now, or the first episode this week, yesterday.
Uh,
So,
so we got primetime Emmy picks next week. We'll come back after the Emmys and do a show. And then do you want
and
to
then
do?
you better start planning right now for our 2025 Emmy predictions.
So we'll do that.
I'm
I think
so
we should do
concerned.
two that following week then. The week of the 16th, we should do our Emmys and our first Oscars. We have to come
What
back
will
with
win
Oscars.
TIFF?
What?
What will win TIFF?
So I talked about this with a lot of people. I thought Amelia Perez would be the obvious pick. They're screening it like crazy, and it is a crowd pleaser, and it's like this. The consensus, though, among all the people I spoke to at Telluride is that Tiff doesn't like it when a non-premiere wins the audience award. That a premiere would have an
Yeah, it
advantage
can't stake its claim.
over a non-premiere. So
Yeah.
then, based on that, I have no idea what is premiere at TIFF. That's not like what are the big movies at TIFF?
I don't know. Well, what all yeah, but by the same measure, like what also has the most screenings too?
I don't
I don't
know.
know. I don't look at this stuff.
Like I don't know. I have to look it up. I was like, oh, that screwed me up because I was like, oh well. I figured
Remember
Amelia
the
Perez would win.
Fablemans?
Great movie. You know who's great in Saturday Night?
Well, Gabriel, but I don't think anything's gonna happen for him again.
What if they run him supporting? That would be an egregious campaign, but I'd love it. I also watched on the plane home because people were talking to me about it. Snack Shack. Have you caught that one?
No.
You would love it. Gabriel LaBelle, high school comedy. They run a snack shack. He's fucking great in it. He's so good. I'm like, this kid's got the juice. He's
I mean,
got it, Juice.
one of these days, it'll happen.
He's got the juice. He's great in SNL, Saturday Night, but I don't think he'll get in. If he was supporting, I still don't think he would get in, but I could see it, maybe. All right. Well, we'll talk more about this next week. And I'm going to start working on my early Emmy picks
Now.
now. All right. We'll talk to you then. Bye.